And we're going to look over just the problems in the quiz. And I may even do multiple versions. So just, have that ready so that your version is, let me get it going first. Yeah, come on. Oh, there it is. All right. So we have all these screens. Let's get that over there. All right. So let's look at this because, for number one, we had some things to identify. So this is the quiz review. Okay. This is quiz one. Let's call it a recap. Okay. So when I'm looking at this, for problem number one, we had these different situations. We had x squared plus 5x minus 1. We had the x to the fourth minus 8x plus 2. We had the 4z to the 6 minus z squared minus 9. Okay. So for the first one, we had to find the constant, right? The second one, we had to find the coefficient. And the last one, we had to find the exponent. So based on your version number, here are the three different options, right? So the constant is -1, not just 1. It's that whole number. So if you put 1, it was just marked half a point off. And so here, constant, -1 is always -1. Okay. Now with the coefficient, the coefficient is in front of the variable. So we have a -8. And what's out in front of x? There's 1x out in front of x because there's one of them. So here we would say our coefficients are 1 and -8. Okay. I think this is actually going to be really helpful. Remember that the boost for the retake isn't a perfect retake. You get a boost on your score. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you're like, well, I'll just do the retake and do better on that. It doesn't quite work that way because I want you to do your best on both tests. So if you get a boost, it could get you into the B range if you do really well on the retake. Okay. All right, the last one is exponents. So I look here. My exponents are not 4z to the 6th. It's not the whole term that has an exponent. It's 6. It's 2. Some people were really keen. I didn't ask for it. But if you put 1 for 9, it's 9 to the first power. Excuse me, -9 to the first power. But, those are the three altogether. I just took 6 and 2. If you got that 1 over there, that's a little bonus. Okay. All right. So we have that. We have that set up here. Right. Oh, number 1 was different. Number 1 is 11. Sorry. Number 1 here, this was 11. It's -11. I didn't write the whole problem down correct. -11 here. Okay. Let's keep going. Number 2. All right. So we have to simplify the expression and then evaluate. Here's what I saw some people doing. They would take. I'm just going to do the second one. So if you get 2x to the third minus 3x minus 5x, right? Some folks were saying, well, I'm just going to plug in because I know I have to evaluate. I'm just going to plug in here -3. I'm going to plug in here -3, here -3. Okay. The problem with that is this is an expression. When we deal with equations, which is going to be the next step, with equations, we can't just evaluate and plug in because with equations, we're trying to find and solve for x. So instead of plugging in right away, we simplify first. Always simplify first. The skill of just plugging it in, plug and chug, that works for formulas. It won't work for algebra where we have to solve for the variable. So when we don't know x, plugging in first doesn't really work. So we're going to always simplify first. Then evaluate, plug in. Okay. So when I reduce this, when I simplify it, I'm going to leave this first term there. I'm just going to combine what's in the parentheses. I'm basically, when I'm simplifying, I'm thinking PEMDAS. Okay, PEMDAS. So 3x minus 5x is -2x. How do we know? -5 or 5 is greater than 3. So because PEMDAS says to do what's in the parentheses first, I'm going to forget everything else. Look here. +3, -5, -2. Okay. Now I have to distribute this negative inside because it's a negative and negative next to each other. Plus 2x. So what did I do? I always simplified first. I used PEMDAS. And that told me to look into the parentheses first. I worked that out. I distributed the negative. Now I'm at this step where I can plug in, what was number 2? Number 2 had to plug in -3. So we had to evaluate for x is equal to -3. That was the next step. So that's where we can do it. -3 to the third plus 2 to -3. Okay, you'll get better at this as you go. Nope, I'm doing 2b. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. -2 is for 2a. So if you had version A, in the stream I posted this quiz. In the stream I posted it because we didn't have enough time. So maybe check out the stream and pull up the quiz 1 M1. Right. So for 2, I'm just doing 2b because the approach is going to be similar. I might have time to do the others. I just started with b. All right. So let's see here. If you're confused, always expand it because this is 2 times -3 times -3 times -3 plus, let's go ahead and do this part right here. 2 times -3, 2, positive 2 times -3 is -6. So once I work this out, I just have to subtract 6 from it. All right. So let's do all the negatives first and then double it. -3 times -3 is +9. Times -3 is -27. Times 2 is -54. -6. -60. Okay. Raise your hand if you would benefit from seeing the other options on number 2. And in fact, in the chat, I'll do one other. So tell me if you want me to do 2A or 2B or 2C. Or not 2B, we just did it. 2A or 2C. Okay. Well, because I've already written it out like this, I'm going to go ahead and just do 2A and 2B because I got both requests. All right, so for 2A we had, that was 2B we just did. We're going backwards here. 5x squared plus 3x minus 6x. We're going to evaluate it for x is equal to -2. Okay, so that's what we're going to accomplish. 5x squared, I'm going to combine these two terms. +3, -6, keep the negative. Different signs, take the difference. 3x. Okay. We can't combine the 5x squared because it has a second power. This has a first power. We can't combine when the powers are different. So when I look at that, I want to go in and plug in -2, evaluate for -2. And what do we have? -2 squared is -2 times -2 times a 5. We're going to get +4, -2 times -2. Times 5, 20. -3 times -2, +6, 26. Is this the right problem? Did I write this right down? Yeah, I did, didn't I? -2, 6 plus 2, okay. 2A, okay. Let's see. Let's go ahead and go to 2C. Okay. So 2C we have x to the third plus parentheses x minus 6x. We're going to eval for x is equal to -4. Okay. Okay, so I look in the parentheses first. I'm thinking PEMDAS all the way, thinking PEMDAS. And with this, I'm going to go in and say, okay, x to the third's out there still. Let's do inside the parentheses. +1, -6 is -5x. X to the third, negative times a positive right here is going to be a negative. And then we have to evaluate. -4 to the third power because we're evaluating for -4. -5 times -4. So let's see. You can do this in your calculator. That would be fine. I would do one part at a time just so you know 100% you're going to get it. So I would even put parentheses. So we got -4. And then we're going to raise that to the third. -64. So we get -64. Negative times negative is a positive. So we get -44. Okay. Remember, I'm recording this video, so you know if your notes aren't perfect, you can go and review it over the weekend if you need to do the boost. Okay. Okay. So those were one type of problem that we were doing. Let me just move this up. Hopefully, I can keep it in the screen. Yeah. So that's 2C. If you still need to do it, I'm going to keep on moving. Just because this is a review and it is just going over the test. So let's look at number 3. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to write down some of the information after I read it first. Lily went to the mall to buy a gift. She found a store that was having a store-wide discount of 20%. She has, for A, it was $104 to spend. What is the most expensive item she can buy to stay within her budget? Okay, so I'm going to put some bullet points. Let's see. There's a discount of 20% for 3A. She has a $104 budget. Okay. We want to find the most expensive item you can buy. Item. We're going to call that X. Okay. So here's what I saw, and I don't want to see it again. You can't do mental math and just do these calculations in your head. It's a sure way to be more stressed and probably not get the right answer if you're depending on mental math. So what I saw is people were doing this. They were going like this. They were like, well, 104 times 0.2, and they'd work out the amount. And then over here, they would say, okay, then 104 minus whatever this amount was, 98. Okay, and then they get amount. And then they would subtract that, do something else. This is how, adults do math. They just make little notes. This is not algebra. These are like the notes that would be on the side after I create my equation with the budget on the right side. Right? The budget on the right side, I know that I have, so here's a budget. Okay. And this is where, like, if you're bright, if you're smart, and you're just kind of doing the chicken scratch on the side and saying, oh, my answer is 42. Maybe sometimes you get it right. Okay. Maybe sometimes you get it right, but it's way more stressful and you have to figure this one out. If you don't have equations, it's going to be really hard for the rest of the year. Okay. So just kind of turn the corner. This is actually easier. You've been doing it the hard way if you're doing it this way. Okay. So focus on this. On the retakes, on quizzes moving forward, if I just see chicken scratch and no equations, it's just totally going to be marked down, okay? It's going to be incorrect. So here's our items. So I know I want to buy some item X. There's some kind of discount. So here's our item, here's our discount. So I need to figure out next is, what is 20% of X, the item I'm going to buy? Because I have the item X, I'm going to subtract the discount, which is going to be 20% off of that item X. So of we know is multiplication. So it's going to be X times 20% as a decimal is 0.2X. So it's minus 0.2X. Okay. Now this is a 1X, so we minus 20 cents from that. 1 minus 0.2 is 0.8X equal to 104. This is what we got to see. This is not math 1. This is like arithmetic. So we're going to the next level. Algebra is the next level above arithmetic. Okay. So here we go. Last step. 0.8x. 0.8x. Excuse me, not the x. I just want to get rid of the 0.8. Bye. Then we get 104 times 104 divided by 0.8. Okay. And we get $130. So I'd say $130 is the most expensive item you can buy. Item within budget. You could say that. As long as you express it in a way that we could all understand it. Okay. So there were, I don't know. I saw this. Let me see if this makes sense because it was 140. All right, 104. Let's see if this is what the mistake was. Divided by 0.2. Yeah, 520. I saw some people doing 520 as your answer, but that's if you just forgot about the item and you said, well, it's 20% off. Okay. Okay. I want to see if I can do just a couple more of these because it's going to be the same. So let's look at 3B. All this is the same. I'm going to just set up my equation, right? It's still 20% off. But now my budget for 3B is $206. Okay, 3B is $206. Huh? Right. How could she spend $130 if she only had 104? How could she? Because the item that's $130 is 20% off. Think about it. If you go to a 50% off sale, right, at Best Buy, right, and you go in with $100, you're going to be looking for the item that costs $200 because you'll get it 50% off and be within your budget. Okay. She can't spend 130. She can go get the item for 130 and get the discount and spend 104. So that's how we're going to approach that. I hope that helped make sense. Okay. So now we have 0.8x is equal to 206. So we just have to divide by 0.8. So I already did the work for 3a. So I'm just going with our equation we had. And I basically just switched the amount that was given as our budget for 3b. Okay, 0.8. All right, let's see. We have 206 divided by 0.8. Okay, good. So she can afford an item that's $257.50. And the reason is because with this, she can afford an item that's more expensive than what she has because she's going to get this discount. Right? So if I put 257.50 in here and here, it'd be 257.50, minus 49, which would be our discount or so. That would give us our 206. All right. Okay, let's do this. Luckily, the lesson we have for today is very, very short, very quick. So I'm going to do these notes, and then we're going to have a break and then come back for a quick graphing reminder lesson. Okay. All right, lastly, we just had this same equation, and it's equal now to 64 is my budget. So I get 0.8x is equal to 64. We divide by 0.8. 0.8. X is 64 divided by 0.8, $80. Okay. All right, and I'm seeing one thing that I can give some more partial credit for. So if your grades, if you're gonna retake, I might change some grades slightly, but if your original grade allowed you to retake, you can retake for the boost. Okay. So for instance, if you got 7.5 and I go in and make a little change for adding some bonus partial credit, then you might end up with an 8, but since it was originally 7.5, you can do the boost. All right. Okay, last one. Let's do 5. 5's tricky. I'm going to do A. This isn't 5, this is 4A. Okay, I saw a lot of the kind of chicken scratch stuff for this too. On the retake and moving forward, none of this stuff. Okay, we got to have an equation. Juan has no more than $80 for A, so $80 budget. To spend at the mall, he wants to buy two jeans, and they're the same price and everything. 2 pairs of jeans. If the sales tax on the jeans, so jeans has tax of 4%, and he wants to get a belt, no tax, and we know it costs $10. What is the maximum price of the jeans one can afford? So I'm going to put X as cost of 1 pair of jeans. Okay. And that should be enough for us to get it. All right, so first step, always on the right side, put your budget. $80 is what they can spend. Now, it says that Juan has no more than $80. So if here's your budget, whoops, if here's your budget, here's what you're spending, right? You cannot spend more than $80. You can't spend more. So $80, would it be okay to spend $90? No. So this amount can't be greater than 80. This amount has to be equal to 80 or less than 80. Because you got 80 bucks in your pocket. You can't spend more than 80. So now I look here and I know that that $10 belt is going to be in there. That's $10. There's my belt. And over here, I need to figure out my jeans. So here's the thing. We're going to have jeans, the cost of them, and the tax of them. Because we need to add the tax. The belt was $10. That's good. I put the $10 in there. The budget, $80 over there. So now, if I'm buying two pairs of jeans, the cost of the jeans alone is going to be 2 times X. We're going to add to that the tax. And I need to figure out, since the tax is only on the jeans, and it's 4%, I need 4% of the cost of the jeans, because the tax applies to all the jeans, 2X. All right. This is 0.04 of is multiplication, so it's going right to that. Okay. So the tax right here, this was all the tax. It's all the tax. The tax is going to end up being 0.08x, because I just double it, and that's 4 cents. So I double it and get 8 cents. All right, let's put that in there. 0.08x. So we can combine these two. We got $2.08, so we get $2.08 x plus 10 less than or equal to 80. Line down the inequalities helps me keep it nice and neat. And then I'm just going to go in and minus 10, minus 10. 2.08x is less than or equal to 70. Divide by 2.08. 2.08. X is less than or equal. I don't change the inequality because I divide it by a positive number. And let's just see what that is. What is 70 divided by 2.08? Okay. And with this one, yeah, we get 33.65 for one pair of jeans. Okay. And for the other amounts, I'll just do 2B and 2C down here real quick, because it's just going to be a different budget. It's going to be all the same except for a different budget. Okay. So let's look at that. We have for 4B, our budget is 65. So for that one, I just need to look actually down to this step right here. I can put it exactly how I had the others. You see? And then for 4C, it's just going to be with the budget of 100, we would go 2.08x plus 10 is less than or equal to 100. Okay. And those are just going to be like similar steps to work out. Minus 10 divided by 2.08. So minus 10 here, 55 divided by 2.08. And we get the jeans equals 26.44. So I just subtracted 10, both sides are divided by 2.08. Over here, we're going to get 90 divided by 2.08. And we're going to get the jeans equal 43.27. All right. Well, I hope you see the difference, though, from like doing a little bit of this kind of chicken scratch to doing it in a formula. You got to do it in the equation. Okay, guys? So if you're like, I was doing this the whole time and thought it would be fine, and you don't know how to do this, it's no problem. Just email me between 9 and 9:30 in the morning. I have time for tutoring. So if you email me the day before, then I can usually accommodate that. Okay? Don't email me too late. If it's after 5 p.m., you're probably lucky to get any kind of response. Sometimes I respond on my phone, but if I don't, just keep it civil. Don't show impatience. Impatience is never really appreciated by anybody. So I've gotten a little bit of that. It's kind of strange. But I know you guys are stressed at West Campus. Maybe you have your grade on, Google Classroom and you want to correct it as soon as possible, but that's not always possible. Okay, let's go ahead and pause this. Now I'll stop it. All right, and I'll say again that you need to email me to receive your version of the retake. They are going to align. So number 4 is similar to number 4 on the retake. Number 3 to similar to number 3 on the retake. But watch this video first. Make sure you look over your notes. And then the retakes, once I get them in, I'll start grading them probably late next week. So the retakes aren't really instantaneous, but they help us to get our grade a little boosted. All right, guys, that's it for the video.